All right, with that, let's get you breaking updates from the markets. Nifty has opened below 23,200 and Sensex is also down nearly 600 points. So Wall Street indices also witnessed their worst sell-off since 2020. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended nearly 1,700 points lower. S&P 500 was down nearly 5% and Nasdaq as well, declining nearly 6%. The indices showed some resilience as well, unlike the US stocks, which witnessed their worst sell-off since 2020. We have experts joining us on the broadcast with the details of what can be expected. First, let me bring in Varun Dubey, senior news analyst, who is joining us with the details of what can be expected. Sharad Kohli, market expert, is also with us. Varun, was this unexpected lines? What we are seeing in the market, Sensex opening close to 600 points down?
Definitely. This was expected that Indian markets will close on a weaker note today, because if you see the global markets, there we have seen a big sell-off because of the Donald Trump tariff that has been implemented that is going to be implemented and announced yesterday. That, actually led to a shock wave in the global markets. And the big impact we have seen in the US market, where in a single day, it was the biggest loss in the US market since 2020. And overall, if you look, $3.1 trillion of wealth has been eroded in the US market. That not only led to a sell-off in the US equity market, but also led to a sell-off in the overall commodity market as well. We have seen a fall in Brent crude, we have seen a fall in silver, we have seen a fall in gold and other commodities as well. And that has actually led to a sell-off in Asian markets, and that continued to a sell-off in Indian markets. No doubt, Sensex is down by around 500 points, but if you look at the mid caps and the small caps, they are down more than 1.5%. If you look at advance decline ratio, in front of one stock advancing, there are 4 stocks where we have seen a decline. Other than financial services, majority of the indices are seeing a sell-off. And this is only because of the tariff that was announced by Donald Trump yesterday. In fact, there is a Jeffries note which actually calls this Liberation Day not a Liberation Day, but an Empowerment Day. And they actually say that there are administrative vacuum in the US which have led to such a decision. And they see more pain coming in the US market, and definitely if more pain comes in the US market, that would definitely impact the global market and India as well. And that's the reason we are seeing a sell-off in Indian market, wherein Nifty on an intraday basis has actually touched 2 weeks low. So that's a sell-off, global sell-off, which is impacting Indian markets as well.
Okay, all right. Mr. Sharad Kohli, what is your outlook on the global markets given the current economic uncertainty? Would you say that the worst is now over, or would you say that this uncertainty is going to continue for weeks, if not months?
Good morning, Pratibha. Good morning to the viewers of Times Now. I think the uncertainty is going to remain for some time, because it has caused an absolute turmoil, in the global market, especially the American market, which have seen the whole worst since 2020. I think President Trump is now getting the message from the corporate world and the investors that, after all, these sweeping tariffs may not augur too well for the industry. President Trump obviously wants to make America wealthy again. He wants to make America rich again, great again. But I think what it might end up doing, at least for some time, is that it will disrupt the supply chains. We saw shares of Apple, we saw shares of Tesla, and some of the retail outlets, who sell garments and textiles, apparels. Their stocks have also tumbled down because they were sourcing all their stuff from either Vietnam or Cambodia or from Bangladesh. And then, for that matter, electronic stocks are tumbling down as well because they were sourcing from China. So I think this disruption in the supply chain is definitely not going to work well for America. Either America starts manufacturing everything in-house, which is not possible. And Pratibha, I'll give you a very interesting piece of statistics. 1 acre of land in America, a factory land, costs $1,17,951 on an average, which is one crore plus for an acre. 1 hour's labor for unskilled labor is $7.25 to $17.50. In that situation, how can factories be set up in America, which is what President Trump wants? I'm sure, Pratibha, I can foresee President Trump going back on some of these announcements, because as these turmoil creeps into various sectors and the economy, and it will bring in inflation, I'm sure he'll have to revisit the whole sweeping tariff announcements which he's done. Pratibha.
Okay, in fact, even now looking at the numbers that have come in from various markets, it looks like the biggest impact has been on the Wall Street, given the numbers there. In the other markets, yes, there has been a tumble, but there has been some resistance as well. So does it mean that the biggest impact of the same is going to be on the United States, as you were saying?
Absolutely. I've been saying this from the beginning that the backlash, this is going to backfire on America because it's going to fuel inflation. It's going to create shortage of goods. One of the two things definitely going to happen, or both may happen as well. So I think America is going to be the most, the biggest loser out of these announcements. Take, for example, India. Indian market has shown a lot of maturity. Yesterday, we were hard, we were down, but not massively down in the way American markets are today. Even today, right now, the markets are down, but you will see a steady recovery unless, of course, the FIIs come for selling, which is a different reason altogether. So Indian impact will be minimum. The impact on other markets, some of the markets, some of the countries, I would say, would be suffering quite massively, which is Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia. But some of the other matured emerging markets, bigger emerging markets like India, are able to take the brunt, because for us, the rest of the world is also a market. We've got Europe, we've got West Asia, we've got Southeast Asia. Indian exporters can go and sell their goods and over there. But then America will still have to import goods, Pratibha, from India and other places. And India, after all, may be a gainer because Indian tariffs are lower than the other countries. But having said that, I'm absolutely convinced that President Trump will have to take back some or part of these announcements in the times to come, because it cannot go on like this forever.
In fact, what does it mean for the investors? Should they remain invested? Is there selling off pressure or not? We're going to be talking about that. Before that, I also want to speak about what Trump has said amid the global fallout. The United States President Donald Trump has stood firm on the sweeping tariff, saying that the United States market is going to boom. That's what he has said. Dow Jones Industrial Average has dropped more than 1,600 points as U.S. stocks led a worldwide sell-off after the Republican president's tariff announcement. Here's what he had to say.
I think our markets are going to boom. We've got to give it a little chance, but we're taking in jobs and we're taking in industry. We're taking in trillions of dollars. I think our markets are going to boom. We've got to give it a little bit of time, but they've already started construction on numerous plants. Soon it'll be many, many plants all over the country. They're going, and so you got to give that a little time. I haven't checked my 401k.
So, Sharad, it looks like while you said that, there could be a rollback, he says that the markets are going to boom. That's what Trump is expecting. So is this an indication that at least for the moment, there's not going to be any change? So the uncertainty is going to continue. Maybe later on, there may be a change in stance from the United States. But for now, looking at this statement, it doesn't look like there will be a rollback.
Well, obviously, we cannot expect him to be rolling back the very next day. I think a very wishful thinking on his part that markets are going to boom, but they will. The point he's missing is that markets will only boom when these factories, they come to America, when they start producing and the supply chains get restored in America, which happened decades ago. So I think there's a bit of a make-believe kind of imagination there. It's not going to happen that soon. I'm sure he will have to take back some of the tariffs, because how can the markets boom in a situation when the supply chains are disrupted?
Yes.
Well, market consists of corporates who are dealing with supply chains, and the supply chain get disrupted because of the tariffs. So I'm not sure where is he coming from and why is he saying markets are booming. Obviously, he's trying to defend his own decision and trying to create.
And there has to be some political rhetoric as well, isn't it? He has been speaking about it for a long time. He can't go back on his words immediately. But you spoke about the supply chain disruption as well. Varun, which are the sectors to watch out for? Which are the sectors that are going to have the biggest impact because of these decisions?
Definitely, if you look at some of the sectors which are going to have a bigger impact, is the IT sector, where you have seen a big fall yesterday, because Trump decisions will actually lead to supply chain disruption. There are reports that these decisions of him will actually lead to overall lowering of discretionary spend in the US market, and that would hit the overall banking system, and that would hit the overall IT system of US and IT system of Indian markets as well. And that's the reason we have seen a big sell-off in the IT stocks yesterday. Other than that, it's the gems and jewelry segment, it's the textile segment from India's point of view that would be hit hard. Pharma, oil and gas, these are some of the sectors which have been actually exempted. So the risk is overall less. But yes, some sectors from an Indian point of view, it's IT, textile, gems and jewelries. These are some of the sectors which are going to hit high because because of this decision on tariff.
Okay, all right. We'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us with your expertise. Thanking Varun Dubey and Sharad Kohli with those details. Quick break now. We'll be right back. Stay with us.